Okay, so get this is crazy. It's December, alright? It's December, so that's a busy time for the clowns, and on Saturday I've got 5 shows, okay? 5 shows, so that's a lot of work. And one of the shows I've got about an hour to get from central Hong Kong to the other side of Hong Kong. And I get out and I can't find a taxi, and I'm running around up and down the middle of the road trying to grab a taxi, but there's no taxis. Everybody's changing shift, right? Because it's 4:30 in the afternoon. And then I turn around and I see these minivans belonging to some caterers who are delivering food to the various restaurants, right? So I go up to one of the caterers and I say, "Where are you going?" And he says, "I'm going to Hong Kong Park View, which is halfway to where I want to go." So I say, "If I give you $200, will you take me there?" And he says, "Yes." So I hijack the minivan. I'm sitting in there with amongst all the catering stuff, all the food and stuff. I have all my boxes and my unicycles, and I hijack it, and he takes me to Hong Kong Parkview, where there's loads of taxis, and I get to the next show on time, eh? Brilliant! I should try that more often. Hello, this is Ben. Welcome to the Big Ben Show. Meet the entertainers. And if you're an entertainer, if you're a juggler or a magician, if you've done some birthday parties and you'd like me to interview you, then drop me an email. It's ben@thebigbenshow.com. And today we're talking to Jan Preece. Fantastic guy. Jan is spelled with a J, Jan, Preece, Preece. He's from the UK originally, but has been working as a clown in Hong Kong for over 20 years. He's a really lovely guy. He's still got incredible, great enthusiasm for what he does. He's incredibly successful, and he's also got an incredibly funny show from just a very small bag of props. If you want to check him out, you can see him on this website, www.kids-party.hk. That's kids with an S -party.hk. And it's a really nice interview with Jan. He talks about some of his influences. Thomas Greder, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but you can look up Tom Greder, Greder. He's still a very successful clown. Jan also talks about Ra Ra Zoo, which was a big thing in England about 25 years ago. I remember seeing them. And Jan talks about Joe Jackson Jr., a classic old vaudeville bicycle routine, which can be seen on YouTube. And he also talks about Archaos, Archaos, which is was a fantastic contemporary modern circus that ran from about 1986 to about 1991, and I saw that as well. It influenced me as well. Well, it's great talking to you, and I hope you're having a good time. Let's bring on Mr. Jan Preece. So first of all, how did you get started in this weird career? How did you get started?
As a clown, yeah?
Yeah, how did you get into clowning?
Well, I really didn't start as a clown, I started as a juggler, because, I don't know whether you remember, sort of like late 80s, early 90s, there was a craze for the juggling,
Yes.
And I got into that, and then also I thought it would help me with my jewellery, which I was studying at the same time, because I thought it would help with my dexterity, my fingers, swapping hammers side to side.
Okay.
And also, I was a bit of a show-off with the juggling.
This is in Watford?
No, this is in Brighton.
Brighton, so you were studying in university, yeah?
I didn't study in university, but I studied in a jewellery workshop.
Jewellery workshop.
So I did a jewellery apprenticeship, so...
Yeah, Brighton was pretty big on the old juggling scene in the late 80s.
I still think it is, yeah. I mean, there's a big sort of scene there, I think. There was a good juggling shop. Max Oddball opened
Max Oddball's,
a shop there and everything like that. So it had its fingers on the pulse, so to speak.
Yeah.
But when I came to Hong Kong, I was doing my jewellery work.
What made you come to Hong Kong then?
Well, I had a friend here that was working on a radio station. And he was like the head of the Radio 3, RTHK, which I've just been listening to. And he came back to the UK. I just finished my jewellery apprenticeship, and I thought, right, let's go and see the world. And so I came to Hong Kong, and I got a job here making jewellery. And then I was doing the juggling. And somebody just saw me doing the juggling and said, would you do a show? And so I did the show at the Cultural Centre in Timsdale.
Oh, yeah. So how old are you?
I think I was 21, 21, yeah.
This was about 1993?
1992 this would be,
wow.
I think, 1992, yeah.
So 1992, you in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
Jewellery was the thing.
Yeah.
But someone saw you juggling.
Yeah, I was just doing like a small show for the kids on the beach in Chung Chau.
Okay.
You know, went over there for the weekend, and a lady from the Fringe Club, who does like the outreach performers,
Yeah.
she saw me. She said, "Will I go in and do like an audition?" And then she said, "Okay, I'll give you this show at the Cultural Centre." But I didn't really have a show at the time, so I kind of sort of like made it up, and I'm still doing the same show now.
But you were 21 years old. Was it just like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do a show?
Yeah, why not? You know, and the money was good, so I didn't really care. You know, they could have thrown tomatoes at me for all I cared, really. But I was a bit nervous. I remember on the day I was all sort of like a bit wobbly hands and stuff like that. But
Wow.
I managed to get through it, and using my cassette as the background music and things like that. I think at the beginning the cassette went wrong, and I was just kind of standing on the stage looking like a dummy, and I just thought, well, whatever happens now, it can only get better, really. So it's just started like that, yeah.
And did you just get more and more bookings after that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Fringe Club had like a contract with the Hong Kong government, so they'd send out performers to like the housing estates and places like that. So, you know, the kids would get to experience like performance and clowns and magicians and jugglers and stuff like that. So I used to do quite a lot, but I only really sort of stage shows and stuff like that. You know, not really kids' parties or clowning.
Amazing, same as me. Almost exactly the same as me.
Wow.
Almost exactly the same. I don't know what to say. I'll tell you this in another podcast, but basically it's almost identical, my story. Very, very similar.
So somebody saw you doing your, you know, practice?
Someone saw me riding a unicycle on the street doing skateboard tricks in Singapore.
Right.
And said, can you do a show? And I was 22 years old, a year older than you. I went, yeah, of course I can. I give it a show. In the shopping centre, alright, no worries. Just got more and more work. You know, again, also community shows in Singapore were big in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I loved the community shows. I thought
they were the best, man, you know, because the audience was really great, yeah, because they were actually, they've never seen anything like that, and they were really receptive.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes a bit too receptive, yeah. They were like, a bit gung-ho and, you know, invading the stage and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was good, yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you started in the same way like that.
Yeah, very similar.
It is similar,
very
isn't it,
similar.
yeah? So, I mean, you must have been into the juggling craze as well at the time, yeah?
I was the same. I was into the juggling craze in England in the late 80s and the early 90s.
I don't know where it came from, it just suddenly popped up, didn't it, really? It was
maybe someone figured out how to mass produce plastic juggling clubs and it became a little industry.
I think they probably did, didn't they? I think it was that Oddballs, was it? And then there was another
More
one.
balls than most.
More balls than most, wasn't it? That was the one, wasn't it? Because it came in like a little box set, didn't it?
That's right. 3 balls.
Yeah.
And
I remember seeing somebody doing it and thinking, oh, you know, I can do that, you know. And then I couldn't do the juggling, and I was just so sort of like, wow.
Are you a natural juggler? I'm not.
I wouldn't say I was, no.
No.
I really have to work at it, I think, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Hence, I only do a little bit of juggling in my clown shows now. So. Yeah, juggling's not a big part of it anymore.
Alright, so how did it become, so you're getting more and more juggling work?
Yeah.
And did it become your main profession?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, when I first, I came to Hong Kong and I did some work, and then I went off and did some travelling in India, and I came back and I worked for this jewellery guy. And it was, you know, it was hard work working for a jewellery company in Hong Kong because...
Is this before you started doing the cultural centre?
This is just before, you know, and then I thought, well, this is no good working for this guy, I may as well start my own business. So I started my own jewellery business, and then the clowning started as well. So it's kind of sort of, you know, 90% jewellery and 10% clowning, and then it started to slip over, you know, till it was sort of like 50-50.
Right.
And now it's sort of like 90-10, really.
Wow. 90% clowning, 10% jewellery.
I'd say probably less than 10% jewellery, really. Wow. I'm just trying to get back into it now because I've had a few quiet weekends. I thought, bloody hell, I better start doing something.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. So, it just built up?
Yeah.
And you were doing stage shows first?
Doing stage shows first, doing like the cultural centre, community performances and things like that. And then it got into more like the corporate things.
Okay.
And you meet more and more people that are putting on the performances and stuff like that. So it just kind of ballooned. Yeah, I mean, you know.
So you were doing the shopping centres.
Doing the shopping centres.
You did City Plaza, right?
Did City Plaza.
What year was that?
So, gosh, now that would be.
City Plaza is a very big shopping centre in Hong Kong.
Well, yeah.
Right.
It's pretty big, I suppose.
Well, it's a big stage area.
It's true. That's true. It's true. And it's also a good mall to do the shows in, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That must have been about 2002 or
Right.
2001.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I had a big contract, and we did. It was the first time I started working with Francois, doing a duo act.
That was the first time.
That was the first time. Yeah. So we do. You know, we kind of shared the contract. He'd do some solo shows. I'd do some solo shows. And I'd do some duo shows together and stuff like that.
So Francois is another clown, performs as Zanini. No, Zanny.
Zanny.
I'll try and interview him in a month or so. Yeah.
Also known as the Cheese Brothers.
The Cheese Brothers is your double act.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Any difference between doing a solo show and a two-man show? That's your dog. What's your dog called, Jan?
Hey, his name is Diego.
Hello, Diego.
Of God.
Diego doesn't know what to think of me.
He's like, you know, what's going on? How does it differ from doing solo shows to... well, Francois, you know... Wait, come on, over there. In here. I mean, you've got to have a big ego to get on a stage anyway, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, you know, working with, you know, another big ego on the stage was quite a challenge at the beginning, I'd say, because, you know, everybody wants to sort of grab the limelight and be the funniest and things like that. So it was quite an interesting sort of learning curve to sort of let go a bit and, you know, find my character within the show, which was, you know, quite difficult, I found at the beginning, because Francois wanted to do it this way, and I kind of felt that, well, you know, maybe that was what I wanted to do as well. So, but then actually once I found my character, and then I could, you know, work on that and get it to evolve, which was good, you know. But,
so what is your character on stage? Is it an extension of your normal offstage personality?
I suppose it's just you know, kind of an extension of myself, really.
Yeah.
You know, like that. You know, when I'm on the stage, I'm obviously not Jan the jeweler, but I'm Jan the clown, or Jan the juggler. You know, so yeah, it's kind of basically me on the stage, really, I suppose. Yeah.
Just you on stage, but
yeah.
Bigger maybe.
Yeah, bigger and you know, I mean, I have quite a large personality anyway, so I mean, yeah, it's just an extension of that, I suppose.
And large hair.
And large hair too, which always goes down well.
People have seen me and said, "Oh, we saw you last week, but you had a big wig on." I think they're talking about you, yeah.
I know. Also with the teeth as well, you know, I've got quite distinctive teeth. And, you know, I get some comments about that. You know,
do you want to plug yourself? Have you got any websites that you want to plug?
Only the website that we share together, which is www.kidsparty.uk.
Okay, they can check you out there.
I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Kidsparty.com.
Kids-party, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. I'll check it out and I'll put it on the preview.
Yeah, it's www.kids-party.uk.
And you've got a nice Facebook page as well?
No.
No?
No, I don't really do that much, you know, with that sort of stuff.
Oh, no, right, okay.
I mean, I should do more, but I always find that, you know, just doing the parties and doing the performances, you know, from one leads to 20 more bookings or 10 more bookings or something. So, you know, as far as advertising goes, I've never done that, in fact.
Never bothered?
No, I mean, I should do, but...
No, I never had to bother at the start.
Right.
Now maybe it's a bit more useful because everybody Googles.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? You know? And I mean, you know, before there was the Dollar Saver magazine, which is quite famous for advertising in Hong Kong, but that's closed, it's finished now. So
yeah, that's gone.
That's the end of that, isn't it? So I think it will be more internet-based stuff, won't it? You know, it's like, yeah, incredible, yeah.
How did you go to, when did birthday parties happen? Again, totally same as me, started doing stage shows, now I do mainly birthday parties.
Well, that's right, it kind of went from doing, you know, stage shows to doing kids' parties all the time, and, you know, hardly any stage shows now, really.
Yeah.
But, no, it went from that when my first son was born. I thought, somebody asked me to do a kids' party, and I'd always kind of avoided it, really, before. I was kind of scared of kids, I suppose, but, and then I thought, well, okay, if I now have a son, I should be getting into kids and stuff like that, so I started doing kids' parties. And that really went well. I realised that I had a real good connection with the kids. And you know, I was just a big kid myself, basically. So. And love it. I mean, you know, it's 99% of the time.
How do you deal with a kids' party? Because kids can be a bit rowdy, they can have very little respect sometimes. What do you do at a kid's party?
Well, how do I deal with like an unruly kid?
Yeah, so you've got an unruly child in the crowd at a birthday party. Someone who maybe seen you 3 times before, maybe even the same day at another party.
Right, yeah, I mean, usually I do it with my eyes,
Your eyes?
I'll flare up my eyes and say to the kid, hey, look, this is not your party, and,
right.
So either pipe down or you have to leave. And,
you say that, really?
Yeah, I always say otherwise you have to go outside, I think it's pretty innocuous, it's not so harsh, and I say it in front of the parents, I'm not afraid, so I see them, or they see me dealing with the child, so at the same time I don't hold it any longer, do you know what I mean? Once I've dealt with the boy, then, I don't leave him out, I'll try and involve him and do stuff like that, so he's not just sort of bored and left out, but usually it works, but I've got to say, touch wood, I haven't really had so many bad experiences like that.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, a few kids are boring and...
Yeah, you get, especially the older kids, they're too cool.
Yeah, exactly.
You get into it. Even though you do love it, really.
Well, that's true, isn't it? But I just tend to ignore them.
Ignore them, yeah.
Just sort of like pretend I haven't heard them and just carry on,
But you find out just a big glare with your eyes saying, pipe down, it's not your party. And then just boom, on with the show. Yay!
Exactly. And somebody showed me one time that, they dealt with kids and they showed that, how they dealt with the child was with their eyes, and they could literally, really control the kids, because I've got quite ferocious eyes if I want to.
Yeah, you've got all these extra...
Quiet down, little boy.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'll tell your dad.
Yeah, people should definitely Google you and find out what you look like. Because, you could do the eyes.
The teeth, the hair.
Yeah. You've got a lot of things going for you in your appearance.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and they're only getting bigger.
Did you have any influences? Was there anything, for me, I guess, silent movies like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and later on things like there's a thing called Chaos and Cirque du Soleil kind of influenced me. Was there any, or were there any? I didn't have anyone in my family. No one in my family influenced me. Was there anyone who influenced you?
Well,
thing?
When I first started doing a performance in Hong Kong, there was another performer here who was resident at the time as well, called Tom Grieder, who's gone on to become a famous clown. He's really
Tom
Grieder.
Grieder.
G-R-E-D-D-E-R.
G-R-E-D-D. Okay.
Yeah, Tom Grieder. Yeah, and he's now, I think he's based in Australia. But he actually teaches clowning and clowning workshops and things like that.
Yeah.
He was a fantastic juggler. When I first came here, I used to work with him. And he was really supportive and really helpful. He gave me a lot of good tips, don't give your best trick away at the beginning.
Yeah.
Tease the audience, they want to see you get hurt and falling over. And a few tips that were really, really helpful. And there was other things that I remember seeing some routines that Ra Ra Zoo did. Ra Ra Zoo were like an English circus troupe.
Okay.
And they did some really good comedy routines with ping pong balls. And
they were travelling through Hong Kong?
No, this is when they were in the UK. I saw them a couple of times in the UK. And I like the comedy aspect of that.
Yeah.
And then I suppose recently I've been looking at people like, I think it's called Joe Jackson Jr., who was a really sort of famous clown, but an old clown.
Yeah.
And he kept doing his act of getting on a bicycle.
Yeah.
And it was an act, it's only like 9 minutes long, but I think he spent like 50 years doing that act.
Wow.
And it became so refined.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely superb, I think.
Joe Jackson Jr.
Yeah, Joe Jackson Jr.
On YouTube or anything?
Oh yeah, you can find him on YouTube. Yeah, I think Joe Jackson Jr. And he actually copied that off his granddad, who'd been doing that for years and years and years as well. So, and at the end of the clip on YouTube, he takes off his hat and his mask and everything, and you can see he's an old man.
Wow.
And he says, at the end of it, I think with old age comes subtlety.
Wow.
And it was really sort of like a good kind of saying, I thought, really, because clowning it's so subtle, isn't it? It's easy to put your finger up your nose and drop your trousers, Ben,
Very subtle stuff, yeah. I'm very into subtlety, yeah. I think the way I drop my trousers every 5 seconds is very subtle. Alright, what's one of the things about us is we work when everybody else is not working.
True, yeah.
And we work mainly at the weekends, sometimes on the weekdays, but not much.
Right.
So what's your weekly or daily routine like?
Well, I've got to say, I'm so lucky like that, really, because, you know, we earn good money, as you know, at the weekends, and, you know, so we get the rest of the free time to either develop our show or do juggling, but in actual fact, you know, I'm a jeweller, as you know, so, you know, when I'm not clowning, I'm trying to make a bit of jewellery, or trying to do that more recently. You know, I've been getting a bit of stick from my wife of not doing so much of my time. And so I thought, right, you know, it is time to get back to the jewellery, and I do love it. It's like micro-engineering, and, you know, I really get into that sort of, like, you know, handicraft things. And so I've been doing a few bits recently, so, you know...
Fossilised dinosaurs?
Yeah, I mean, fossilised dinosaur poo or bone, or...
Wow!
I think I've got some, actually. I think I've got some fossilised dinosaur bone, in fact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you're interested in a lucky pendant or something.
Yeah, we could do another podcast all about your fossilised dinosaur poo.
Exactly. But no, I'm quite lazy, so, you know, I've got 2 dogs, I like to juggle, I live on a beautiful island, so I go down the beach and, you know, cycle about. There's quite a good sort of social crew around here. There's a few guys who
do you get much of a social life? I don't get much of a social life.
Well, I've got to say I do, really, because, you know, on Lantau there is a kind of like social circle, and, you know, there's like a few stores and bars and places where people meet.
That's
so
right.
I'll go down and have a few beers and a chat with the guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's parties and things to go to. So yeah, there's always things to do. I mean, like you say, I'm often busy at the weekend, so I have a convenient excuse not to go. And, so no, it's a bit of a bummer like that, you know, working at the weekends and, you know, leaving the family and the wife Claire with the kids. And I think she struggles to deal with them sometimes.
Well, she has the kids Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, and
you have them Monday to Friday, but they're at school. So
but they're at school and she's at work, so I've got the house to myself, really. So it's absolutely paradise.
Oh, brilliant!
Superb.
Was Jacques Tati an influence on you, Jan?
He was. That's funny.
So you have done a bit of research, you see.
Okay, yeah, right, yeah. Actually, I think, you know, that was one of the first, you know, films that I watched that was really...
The one where he goes on holiday?
Yeah, Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, I think
Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, that's right.
Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, that's right. And I must have seen that when I was about maybe 5 or 6 or something like that with my mum. And just loving it ever since then. It used to come on every Christmas, like in the UK and things like that.
Yeah.
And the humour in that is amazing, yeah.
It's brilliant.
It is brilliant, isn't it? You know, it's the lengths he had to go to get some of those shots to work and things. Was, I've heard was incredible lengths, you know.
Yeah.
I've actually been to his house.
Really?
Yeah, in Paris. Wow. Surely by accident.
Really?
We were walking around lost in Paris about like 3 or 4 years ago. You know, Jake being a sulky teenager and Claire not knowing where we're going. I don't know where we're going. And Claire happened to look up and there was a plaque on the wall there, and it was like, the former residence of Monsieur Hulot.
Wow.
Jacques Tati. And I was like, wow. Bloody hell, I've been to his house, you know.
Ah, fantastic.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I used to... Jacques Tati, I only used to think I saw it once. Whenever there was silent comedies from the earlier times, from the 1920s, I used to love watching those when I was a kid. I think that influenced me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I suppose when we were kids, all that stuff was on the TV anyway, isn't it? Lauren Hardy, you know, Harold Lloyd.
Harold Lloyd, yeah.
Loads of that stuff. What was the Eric Sykes, was it? You know, the Plank and things like that, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah.
There was loads of that sort of stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that was... It's still funny now, isn't it, you know? Mr. Bean.
Yeah, Mr. Bean, same genre.
Sort of stuff, isn't it?
Just
a modern day version.
Modern day version, exactly, yeah. I love Mr. Bean as well.
Yeah, I love Mr. Bean, but, you know, when people ask me about the clowning and things like that, they often don't think of Mr. Bean as being a clown, really.
Probably the richest clown in the world.
Probably the richest clown in the world, that's right. Yeah, I mean, and when you look at his character, it's so selfish and nasty in ways, isn't it, when you look at it? But it's funny to watch, but he is quite dark as well as a clown, isn't he, really?
It's a horrible character, Mr. Bean, isn't it, really? Out for himself.
Exactly.
What do you have? Talking about your show, let's talk about some of the things that you do in the show. How does your show begin? What you do ping pong balls at one point?
Yeah, I mean at the beginning, with my stage show, I used to come out with obviously quite a big intro. I used to come out with the 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh yes.
And I used to blow the twisty balloons.
All right.
I'd blow beating against my chest, and I'd inflate these balloons to show what a man I was. And do some silly sort of like bending the balloons like they were tough.
You do this in the Cheese Brothers, don't you? Something similar?
We used to do that. That is one of our intros.
I've seen that intro with the Cheese Brothers,
yeah, you've seen that one, and then in the end we sort of like break the balloons in half, and then release the balloons into the audience as like fireworks.
And shoot out.
They shoot out, or they're supposedly meant to shoot out. Sometimes they go
just
on the floor like this, all stuck together still.
So you start off with some balloons, shooting them out.
Yeah, and then introduction of who I am, and hi, my name's Jan the Clown, or Toasty the Cheese Brother.
Okay.
And then I go into usually like a ball routine, do messing around with some balls. I mean, obviously in the kids' parties I don't do so much of the showing off with the juggling. I try to get the kids involved, really interactive.
Right.
So at the beginning, I'll show them the candy. So they'll behave, Oh, really? Look, I've got a big bag of lollipops here, boys and girls.
Really? Okay,
so what do I do with a lollipop? Do I put it in my ear, up my nose, and then I eat it?
You eat it, do it to me.
And then I eat it, I put it in my mouth with a wrapper on, and then...
So you do that quite near the beginning of your show?
Yeah, I did it right at the beginning.
Wow. I would go the other way. For me, it's like as soon as I start offering prizes, all they seem to want is prizes.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose it can work both ways, can't it? I mean, through the show, I do show them the candies at the beginning, but there is a kind of funny routine to the candies coming out. At the end of it, I show them some candies as well. That if you do this trick, you can get these candies, and in the end, I bring out a chicken. Who likes the chicken? And that's the introduction of my chicken, which is quite a pivotal part in my show. This chicken is
it's a rubber chicken.
It's a rubber chicken, and it's a naughty chicken. So I have to beat the chicken, and the chicken beats me. And the chicken does a few tricks. It balances an egg in its beak, and so it has a character of its own. And the kids love the chicken. When familiarity of the show, the kids will say, "Have you got your naughty chicken?"
Oh, brilliant!
So I have to take the chicken with me, but that's all part of the candy routine, I would call that,
right?
And the chicken routine, and then
that routine just came up with that yourself?
Yeah, I suppose it kind of evolved, really. I mean, it's from showing them the candy. I mean, I don't know. It works for you to give them the candy at the end. But often I find that I can get them to do almost anything.
That's interesting.
Okay, who wants a lollipop? Well, sit down, cross your legs, and. And actually, when I say that, the parents will look at all the kids do it in this sort of like almost army fashion.
Maybe you've got more control than me somehow. Yeah. Maybe
I don't know. I mean, I'm not too controlling.
But no, that's good. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I should try more of that.
Sometimes it does have a bit of a kickback from the mums. The mums don't like all the candy, I'm sure.
Yes, true.
You must see that as well.
Yeah, particularly American parents.
Yeah, right.
Candy for the kids now.
Yeah, gluten free and all this sort of stuff. And then all the other kids at the party just sort of like take one bite and then drop it on the floor. It gets trodden in everywhere, doesn't it? I don't know whether you've noticed that, but I have.
Yeah, I used to do a drawing competition where they draw for a quiet part of my show, where they'd sit down and they'd be doing colouring with crayons. Right. I stopped it because I noticed the crayons were just getting trod into the carpets of these expensive houses, and I felt a bit bad.
I used to give these cheap pots of slime away that were, they're only like $2 or something like that, But then I noticed the kids were getting it out in the parties and it was being trodden into the carpet and stuff like this. This slime you just couldn't get out.
Alright, so juggling, candies, chicken, juggling.
But juggling, don't do too much of the skill stuff in the kids' parties. Right. Obviously, in the shows, obviously it's more comedy juggling. It's not really, real high-end, 5 balls, 7 balls, and all this incredible...
He's still more skillful than me.
Well, thank you, Ben. But no, I mean, in the kids' parties, I try, pass out a toilet plunger and a ball and an apple and, do a little routine with that.
Yeah.
And, kind of eat...
And you don't use music?
Not in the solo show. No.
Yeah.
I mean, on the stage I do, but
Right.
with the kids' parties I don't. No.
Yeah.
I find that as I can do, but
Well, it's certainly a lot easier to carry around if you haven't got to carry around a big speaker and
Well, that's very
microphone
true,
and
isn't it?
CD.
no, I don't do the unicycle as well because I find that to carry that huge great part. I know you do this, but maybe you use it more in your show than I know. But for me, I've seen Francois do it, and he carries this huge unicycle, sort of like about a 4-minute act or something like that, and it's
A lot of carrying.
It's a lot of carrying for 4 minutes,
Yeah.
isn't it? Whereas, and then I have like one of my most basic routines is with like a Star Wars sword.
Okay.
So I have the lightsaber,
Yeah.
and I tell the kids that it's got a laser and we can shoot the laser out, and the laser shoots me, and I end up eating the sword. And so it's this whole routine basically from a $70 prop.
Yes, it's a collapsible Star Wars
collapsible lightsaber.
Telescopic lightsaber.
Telescopic lightsaber. That's what I tell the kids.
Yeah.
This is a telescopic lightsaber.
All right. And
Not only is this
so
a
it looks
crown
like you're
show,
swallowing it.
it's an education too.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that's right. So it looks like you're swallowing it, and the kids and parents get, oh my God, look what he's showing the children. Look, to eat a sword and put things in his mouth and things. But I just ignore them.
A lot of the things we do are completely wrong and actually looked down upon
Definitely.
by society. But somehow, as a clown, you can sort of get away with a lot more.
I think you can get away with a hell of a lot.
I give out I give out candies, lots of sugar.
Yeah.
My trousers are constantly falling off when I'm showing my underwear. I'm shoving things down my throat like you are.
Yeah, putting things up your nose.
Yeah, swallowing balloons. Trying to stick plates, sticks.
Ping
down.
pong balls in my mouth.
Yeah. Okay. So after that's lovely. So when do we get onto the ping pong balls? Is that next part?
Yeah, that's usually the next part. I do a little routine with the ping pong balls. Put them up my nose or attempt to put them up my nose and things like this. And and of course, like you say, it's very unpolitically correct for the parents to see you trying to. And in the end, I end up eating the ping pong balls. And so I achieve like 3 ping pong balls in my mouth at one time. And I mean, most of the time the kids don't try it, and everything goes fine, and you get away with it. And sometimes I have had a few. This is outrageous, some hoity-toity mother that was just,
Yes.
too many books.
Yeah, I get that. My pants dropping down.
Right.
Yes.
Do you really? Yeah.
Occasionally, not just occasionally, but I get the email saying, "By the way, we love your show, but please don't do the pants dropping." And I think, okay, all right.
But you still
Not
do it
really
anyway.
my underwear, honestly. They're big shorts I'm wearing. I'm not seeing anything.
But you still do it anyway.
I could do the whole show in my shorts if I wanted to.
Exactly.
But the fact I have trousers over the top of my shorts, my trousers fall off. That's all terrible.
But I mean, it's. But you do that anyway, even if they say, "Can you not do that?" You just don't do it as much, yeah.
Probably.
Yes.
Depends.
Yeah.
Oh, so the ping pong ball routine is it's a well-known skill that maybe people don't know about it, but people can juggle ping pong balls by blowing them out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And then as the next one comes down, you blow up, and you blow up.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could be as skillful as that, but I don't actually quite do that. I mean, I actually. Spit the ping pong balls out with my mouth, and then I catch them with my hands and put them.
Okay,
back
but
into my
you're
mouth.
basically juggling.
Basically the same thing, yeah. And I mean, at the end of it, you are spitting them out. Puff, 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 and then usually I feel it's if I'm not feeling ill or anything like that, I'll spit one into the audience, and so the kids will be like, run away! It's a spit.
I think that's the key thing about your stuff. You haven't got music, but you've got is you're doing juggling skills. But you've worked out very funny, disgusting routines to do with them. There's lots and lots of gags and laughs and funny. Just when you get 3 ping pong balls stuffed in your mouth.
Stuffed in the mouth, which put a funny face.
Very funny face, yeah.
Exactly. So you can do all of that with the funny face these days. I don't think I put 3 in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think I just put 2 in.
Yeah, one in each cheek.
Exactly. That's right, one in each cheek.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose, it's just evolved, and I think, with the kids' show, I tried to get them involved with it, because the end of the ping pong ball routine, the one that I was inspired by was that the lady did this mouth juggling,
yes,
and then she spat one of the ping pong balls up, and then caught it dead stop on her nose.
Right.
And I was like, holy
I used to do that.
That is incredible. How did she do that? And my friend was working at the station. He said, oh, she used contact adhesive. And she puts a bit on her nose and a bit on the ball. And but I couldn't find any contact adhesive when I first came to Hong Kong, so I used to use a bit of double-sided sticky tape on the ping pong ball.
I've done that as well.
So there you go. And but now I used to do the trick of balancing the ball on my nose.
Yeah.
You know, getting the laugh as you take the bow at the end. But
so you balance the ping pong ball on your nose.
Yeah.
It looks like you're balancing it.
Try and make it look
convincing. Everybody's impressed, and then you take a bow, and the ping ball remains stuck on your nose, no matter what angle your head is.
Laugh, clap, clap, clap.
Yes, I did that game. Yeah.
But now I don't do that. I'll get the kid to do that. I say, okay, the birthday boy, young Timmy, come up here, or Timmy's going to, Daddy, get the camera ready, and Timmy's going to do a show trick for us today. And I get him to look up at the ceiling and balance the ping pong ball on his head. So I want him to be the star of the show.
Okay.
You know,
what does he? But he hasn't got glue on his nose.
I put the glue on the ping pong ball.
And that's enough.
Yeah, normally it's enough. You know, I wipe his nose and make a joke, so make sure he's got nothing sticky on his nose and under here. And
we can have a little technical discussion here. Okay, technical discussion.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to learn this trick, it's it's an very old standard.
Old trick.
So what I would do, I was working in Singapore, and the problem with me is Singapore is so humid. I get so sweaty. So what I'd have to do is I'd have to do it quite early on in the show, probably I sweated too much. And I'd have contact adhesive on my nose. I'd let that dry so it was transparent, so you couldn't see it. Then I'd have the ping pong ball also covered in contact adhesive and dried, and I put that in a little perspex box so it wouldn't touch anything else.
Exactly, I'll get covered in fluff.
And then earlier on in the show, I'd throw it up and catch it on my nose and bang, it balances, and that's the trick. Yeah, so it goes. But like in Hong Kong, I couldn't find any contact adhesive.
I know.
I used double-sided sticky tape as well.
And that works fine, yeah?
Alright. And you can do it with just glue.
I used double-sided sticky tape.
And you put on a boy's nose.
I put that on the ping pong ball itself.
Sorry, I put that on the ping pong ball, yeah.
And make sure that it's ready to peel off, so I can easily peel off. But I keep the peeling covered inside the bag. So, but I peel it once, so it's easy to get off. Otherwise, you're like trying to pick it with your thumb, aren't you?
In the middle of the show, absolutely.
In the middle of the show, and that looks rubbish, doesn't it? You know. So then I'll get that.
This is great. This is technical stuff. Someone's going to listen to this, and they're going to put that. They're going to start their career. And they're going to maybe they'll reference you one day.
Yeah, I heard on this podcast.
Well, kids, I first saw that trick at Ra Ra Zoo, and they did it much better than I did.
Yeah, I probably saw it somewhere else as well.
Yeah. No, I was inspired by it. I didn't copy it completely.
No, I think. For us, probably we were inspired by somebody else. So we kind of make it our own.
Yeah.
And we're working in places where no one else in the whole country is doing.
Well, that's true. That's true. It's for sure. Yeah. I mean, but also I think I remember there was another clown and he'd seen my show a few times, and basically he just kind of copied exactly what I was doing. And only a young guy, and somebody told me, you should know this, and I just had a chat. I said, look, it's fine. You can do exactly the same. Yeah. I can't stop you. But the whole point is that we're different. Yeah. I mean, we all do the same sort of things, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, but it is somehow we make it our own, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think that was what I said to him was that, yeah, sure, you can copy me, that's fine, and I find it quite a compliment. Copy me, but maybe you can do the ping pong ball routine, but you can find something else with it that's your own, and do it that way. So actually, when people book you, they're not booking the same guy that's doing the same tricks, and otherwise it becomes like a formula, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's a bit. You want variety, don't you?
Okay, getting through the show now. We come to another ping pong balls.
Yep.
What comes after the ping pong balls?
Usually the plate spinning for the kids' parties. So
do you have a plate spinning routine? I can't remember.
I get the kids to come out and do some skills with the plates and try and make them look like.
Are you giving out candies every single time to your volunteers?
No, not always. No, I mean
Do they demand it?
Well, they do. I have it kind of really structured. So at the beginning. I only asked 3 kids to help me at the beginning, and it's the birthday boy and 2 his friends.
Yes.
And so I give out a lollipop each to them. Then the next time it's interactive, he does the plates. So I want the birthday boy to come out and look the star with the plates and things like that. So then I give him the candy then.
Oh.
So which is the fruit tips or something like this. And
a whole packet, huh?
A whole packet, right? I know exactly. You know? And then I get him. Usually comes in 3, so I get him to choose one of his mates or a girl or something.
Yeah.
And get them to do the plate spinning, which they like because they think it gives them an idea that they can do something, and it's it's relatively easy, isn't it?
Yes.
So
yeah.
and it makes them look good, doesn't it?
What's your plate spinning routine?
Well, just spinning plates, really.
But you get the kids up.
I get the kids up. I spin the plate, obviously. Get them to hold the sticks.
Yeah.
Then turn around without them falling off, and then balance them on their fingers and things like that.
Lots of stuff.
And if they're really good, bounce them on the end and things, But there's a whole lot of comedy
on their hands and.
Yeah, on their finger, really.
So
there's a lot of comedy that happens in that routine of them not getting it on the finger right, and them turning around and hitting you on the head with the plate and things.
Oh, so is it? So this routine is not necessarily the same each time. It depends on what accidents and mishaps happen.
Absolutely, I would say it's always different, really.
Right, and you've done it thousands of times, so you know pretty much most of the combinations.
Absolutely, and then after I've done the kid to do the, 3 kids to do the spinning plates, which is like you say, it's always different with each kid as well. Yeah. But then after that, I usually get them to do get them up and jumping because they've been sitting there for 15, 20 minutes watching me. So I get them to do this kind of like a Simon Says routine, where whoa and ooh la la, and turning around and doing things like this, which leads in to the potato crushing routine.
The potato crushing
routine, so which involves getting the dad. So at the end of the kids doing this routine, I get them to show their big strong muscles.
Yes.
And then I say to the birthday boy or girl, Timmy, is your daddy here today? And then he comes out, and I challenge him to crush a potato with his bare hands.
Yes.
And I pass my potato around to the kids. Yeah. Is it soft? Is it hard? Bang it on their heads. And then, of course, I put the daddy's one in the microwave, and he comes out, and he crushes the potato.
Wow.
But my oh my, have I seen some people crush a potato. I say, make it look realistically, so don't just go.
Yeah.
And they're doing it. They're there for ages.
So again, I don't know how this is done. So you microwave the potato, it's really, and it becomes really soft. It's cooked.
Exactly.
And then, so when you squeeze it,
you just crush the potato easily with one hand. So it looks like the potato is still.
And all the potato flesh is coming out between your fingers.
Exactly. And I usually put a little tea towel on the floor that the dad's meant to drop the crushed potato in. But I've seen the dads throw the potato at the kids. I've seen the dads eat the potato. I've seen them trying to put it on my head.
And it feels hard.
Well, obviously I have the hard potato.
Oh, you have the hard potato.
But somehow, I say, now here's Daddy's very special potato.
All right.
And, I put the little mat out.
Oh, I see.
Then I get the routine, give Daddy the potato. Come on, kids, we need your help. And because otherwise the dad's kind of a bit passive at the party, aren't they? Really, they're sort of hanging around at the back, not doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I like to them to come out so the kids can see their dad as being like this superhero or this mighty champion, because he is the star, isn't he? He crushes the potatoes.
Yeah. Little aside here. So I think you probably have more control over your parties. My personality seems to invite people to start pulling my trousers down and stealing my stuff. So what I do when I get the dad up is to help me with the unicycle act, and I bring it out when the crowd is getting too unruly.
Okay.
So because when the dad's on stage, there's 2 adults and one of them's the birthday boy's dad, so normally that quietens the kids down.
Well, that's a good idea, isn't it?
But I like the way you make the kid's dad into a superstar.
Yeah, I sometimes carry
This is very interesting,
a Superman cape and put the cape on him at the end and get him to pose around. But I mean, obviously, some dads are better than others. Some are absolutely petrified. The Chinese dads that have nothing to do with their kids really, and aren't really performers as such. To the extroverted sort of. Slightly tipsy dad that just goes goes completely over the top.
Yeah.
Just ruins you. It's the worst one was I actually saw him crush the potato and just threw it at his daughter.
Oh no!
Yeah. And she's sitting there in a pretty party dress with her hair all braided and was covered in sort of smashed potato. And you can see it was everyone was like,
What's he doing?
What did you do that for? I mean,
Yeah. I think I've had one dad come on stage and start taking his clothes off.
oh my lord.
I'm not quite sure why. I can't remember. I think it's happened.
See,
He started taking
there's a
off
few
his...
too many wines,
Yeah,
you know, to sort of deal with the anxiety of doing the party. I think, isn't it? It's like, I'll have a beer or a wine and just sort of take the edge off things, and it goes to their head and they go crazy.
Oh wow, I like the potato.
Yeah, the potato, and then after that I kind of try and sort of move it on, you know.
That's quite an unusual act. It's not. It's an act I've seen once in my whole life. Yeah, it's quite unusual that you do that.
Yeah, I mean, where I saw that on Our Chaos, you know. Our Chaos.
Me too!
Yeah.
See, we're the same, Jan.
See, we're the
1990, I saw a Chaos in
And this
Wembley
great
Stadium
big
car
fat
park.
geezer would come out, you know,
He squeezed the potato.
in his sort of like wrestling shorts and briefs. And he'd sort of like, you know, intimidate the crowd and walk around and sort of,
Yeah.
rolled out this big sort of carpet.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
if you're listening, check out Our Chaos. I'm not sure how it's spelled and not around anymore, but they're great. 1989, 1990 maybe.
Yeah, exactly. 89, 90, 91, wasn't it?
Maybe French based originally.
French crazy circus performance,
Yeah.
honestly. I've never seen anything like it, you know.
Ah, so that's where, okay.
Yeah, that was the inspiration for that, you know. And then, yeah, I mean, after the potato routine, what do I normally do? Did a potato, and then I used to do a couple of magic tricks or something like that. And then a Diabolo,
Yeah.
and that's usually the end of the show.
That's about half an hour, is that?
About 25, 30 minutes.
25, 30 minutes.
I mean, normally I can actually drag it for longer, depending. But,
Yeah, of course.
and then a few games, and then tug of war and things like this.
Yeah.
And, you know, the old classics and stuff like that. And then a bit of balloon twisting.
Do you find tug of war a bit harder sometimes? Because people can get hurt in that, can't they?
They can.
Any tips for would-be birthday party entertainers with tug of war?
For tug of war, yeah, I have. You know, I always get them to line up in a line.
Yeah.
You know, behind a birthday boy. I find this. I had a psychologist give me this tip actually, because they didn't like the way he came to see my show, and he said, the way you do the kids' parties, the kids' game, it's not so good in organising the teams.
Right.
And he suggested I do it this way. And I found it was very helpful. So I get all the kids to line up behind the birthday boy.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, boys and girls, when I touch you on the head and say a number, who can remember the number? You know, can you think you can remember the number?
Okay.
So don't go 1, 2, 1, 2, or depending on how many teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Okay, well, number 1's going to this corner, or number 2's going to that corner. And so it's usually pretty easy to then divide them up into their teams, you know.
Yeah.
You get a few sort of like, oh, but I want to be with Timmy, and I'm just like, nope. Or, you know, I'll swap them over or something, you know, I can usually work it out. And then I get all the number 1s to line up.
This was a psychologist too.
This is a psychologist that told me, he said, get the number 1s to line up behind you, get the number 2s to line up in front of you.
Yeah.
Then I introduce the dads again. I get a super dad to come up.
Oh yeah.
Because also, like you say, it's helpful to have the dads there when you're doing all that pulling and stuff, So I get the dads to be the anchor men.
Yes.
And then, you know, usually that helps to keep it a bit more in control.
Yeah.
But then when the adults want to join in and it just goes...
No, I think for tug of war, I think it's important to have adults at the end. Otherwise, you might get kids just crashing off balconies.
It's true. Or smashing into each other. You know, I mean...
You've got to be careful.
And
you also have to... do you have a problem getting your rope back?
Yeah, yes, sometimes.
Yeah, I thought you might.
I mean...
You won't let go!
Yeah, I usually pretend I got fishing or something, but then they all want to join in then, you know. Or I just tend to ignore them and just sort of like slowly pull them in, talking to a parent or something.
Yeah.
Or say like, okay, who wants to play the next game? Just try and move on as quick as you can, really.
Anything.
Anything to get them to let go of it. But you've
play
always
the next game and just quickly grab the rope as soon as they all let go of it.
Well, you have got the dads in there as well, so they're like...
you're back now.
Exactly, yeah, gruff, you know. The policeman, you know.
And that'll take you up to about an hour?
Yeah, and then I do some games, and then usually the balloon twisting. And
do balloon twisting?
Do the balloon twisting, obviously I don't really like that.
No, I don't either. I feel like an overworked shop assistant.
Exactly.
Hundreds of customers. Make me this, make me this, make me this.
It's the worst, isn't it? You know. But I tend to sort of like get through it pretty quickly, really.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, if I can avoid doing it, I will.
Right, so you might just play the games for the whole...
Trying to play the games for the whole time and then, finish with a few big bubbles,
Okay.
But I mean, sometimes the big bubbles are no good because you're indoors.
Right.
And it's sticky and wet. And
so you might finish with big bubbles if you're outdoors?
I try to do that all the time, Even if I'm indoors, I will take a towel with me.
Oh, right.
And, get a few kids to come up and do the bubbles. But often, you do the bubbles more than me. And I've seen your bubbles, it's really good. But,
Thank you.
No, it is. And, but I mean, mine's just basically a few bubbles and then the kids obviously just want to pop them, don't they?
Yes.
And then, okay, enough of that, cake time.
Yeah, and you're done.
And you're done, aren't you?
That's great.
So, I mean, I think also the balloons the kids, they love them.
Yeah.
But the balloons is so disappointing. You do all that time in the party and they get outside and it pops. They get it in the car, it pops and they start crying.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare, isn't it, really?
Yes, I think so. I think balloons can be a little bit problematic. But it can also be a bit, for me, it can be a bit of a... You've done this big show, and maybe at 30 minutes in the show you've done a big finish to your show, and then you've played games, and then it kind of peters out into balloons.
It's a come down, isn't it, really?
So, yeah, there's no big finish to your hour.
Well, yeah, you kind of peter out, don't you?
You just kind of disappear into the corner, making balloons.
Like a balloon going down.
You might not be able to leave on time, because they keep on saying, oh, my one's broken, make it again.
Yeah.
You might not be able to leave on time.
I know, that's right. Well, sometimes if I've got time, then I will pre-inflate the balloons.
Yep.
And
yeah,
then, so
good idea.
just right at the end, here we go, bye-bye.
Good tip from Jan, yes,
Yep.
pre-inflate them.
It is always a good tip, And another good tip, beach parties, no balloons.
No, because they just burst the instant they touch sand.
So, bubbles is best for beach parties. But
Yeah.
I've actually have a rule now that I don't do beach parties anymore. One too many.
You live on a beach!
Oh, I know!
Do you have a favourite bit?
What do you mean? Of my show?
Yeah.
I got lots of favourite bits. I really love the kind of routine where I get them standing up, sitting down, doing all the funny poses and things, because it really, I think the parents like that as well, because it really shows they're all, in unison with you. And you can get them to do these crazy things.
So what kind of poses do you do?
Just put their hands there, whoa!
Yeah.
And then, hands to the side, and then, ooh.
Hands to the other
it's
side.
just simple stuff, and then, shoo. And then sham, and it's just
moves.
funny things, and then and they love that because it kind of gets them a bit going.
That's amazing because that requires no juggling skills, no magic skills,
Nothing.
no music. It's just you and the kids interact. That's great.
And you're just doing. I suppose the only thing is you're doing kind of funny moves with them.
Yeah.
I don't do any sort of toilety ones or anything like that, but just doing crazy funny moves with them, and then they get into it. I've actually done it with my stage show as well. I get the audience to stand up, sit down, and do all the funny moves, and they love it.
Yeah.
You would not believe it.
And it lasts for a long time?
Did it for about 2 or 3 minutes, I think.
That's great.
I mean, with the kids longer, and then eating potato and stuff like that. So it goes well. But,
all right. One thing I love about you, and there's lots of things I love about you.
Oh, thank you,
but one thing that really impresses me compared to me is your show fits in a small suitcase. I'm so jealous. My show seems to get bigger and bigger boxes of stuff, and I'm dragging it around. How did you manage to get your show to be so
I think that was from the beginning. When I first started performing. In Hong Kong, you've got to get from one place to another.
Yeah.
And I don't have a car, or to have a car in Hong Kong is quite expensive and also inconvenient, I think. So you've got to be able to carry your show. So it just worked out from trying to fit it into a suitcase, really. I mean, lots of other people to say what you say as well. Other performers, I can't believe you can get a whole hour and a half out of that small suitcase.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's something everyone should aim for. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can do it, isn't it? I mean, if you can all squeeze in the props and things like that in there, and like I say, it's making the best of what you've got, isn't it?
So you don't need music, you don't need a sound system. Your voice is still very strong. You don't need a microphone.
No.
And you can do certain things, like one of your favourite routines is just the kids copying you with the silly poses.
Absolutely, the sword swallowing routine is one of my favourites,
and the sword is telescopic.
Telescopic, so it fits in nice and small.
That's really good.
I think I use one juggling ball now, You know, so I've got a toilet plunger, one juggling ball,
Okay.
and you know, the rope curls up nice and there and everything like that.
Brilliant.
I did have actually a bad experience about a year ago. You know, Hong Kong is very sort of trustworthy. You know, you don't have to worry about things. I just left my suitcase and turned my back. You know, and I'd always do this in Hong Kong, you know, and that suitcase over there.
Yeah.
And I was sorting with Zanini,
Yeah.
and went to look for my suitcase because somebody had stolen my whole show.
Oh, I think I remember this. Yeah.
It was a bad one, you know.
Did you get it back though?
No, I didn't get any of it back.
None of it came back?
None of it came back. Luckily I had my costume in my backpack.
Yeah.
I lost all my juggling balls, all the chicken, all
Yeah.
everything. So it was quite interesting sort of building up the show again.
Right.
Because
Did you make
now I've
any-
got all really nice, gleamy, shiny new props that looks really good.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't realise the old stuff was looking pretty tired actually, you know.
Yeah.
It's only when I saw the new stuff that I was thinking, wow, God, that rope looks beautiful.
That's what new stuff actually looks like.
I know, yeah. And how expensive it was.
Yeah.
You know, a piece of rope for a tug of war was like $700 or something.
Alright, you've been doing this job for ages, 20 years or so.
Yes, gosh, it must be 21 years.
Yeah.
22 years.
How do you, so we'll start thinking about ending this off. How do you keep your enthusiasm going? You must have done thousands of parties.
Yeah, that's a good question, that's a good question. I mean, you know, well, how I keep my enthusiasm for the parties is that, you know, that's somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not just another party, $2,000 or whatever, $2,000.
Yeah.
You know, it is somebody's birthday, and those memories are carried with them for the rest of their life. So I try to retain that and make it as special as I can for them. And obviously some things are beyond your control, environment, moods, atmospheres, all sorts of things are there to, you know, that you're up against, aren't they? So, you know, I just try and retain that it is somebody's birthday, and to try and make it as special as possible, you know. And that's it really, you know, because otherwise I think you become a performing machine. Hello, you know, here we go again sort of thing. And I do love kids, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I love the naughty ones, the sweet ones. I mean, we were all naughty and sweet at one point as well, so, you know, I can associate with them really, I think, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if I should ask this one, might be a massively long question to ask. Has the industry changed? You've been in Hong Kong for a long time. Has it changed a lot?
It has changed, yeah. I mean, I think I've also changed as well. I mean, you know, I've gone from doing, you know, mainly sort of stage shows and shopping malls to majority of kids' parties and, you know, minority of shopping malls and stage shows. So, yeah, I mean, it has changed. I think there's a lot more competition. I think the audience is, Hong Kong has matured, you know, how would you say it, culturally?
Yeah.
And so they're much more up for, you know, international acts, and it's on the international circuit, I would say now, isn't it? Much more so. So you're getting lots more performance, and people have come to it. But it has changed. I mean, in the better. I mean, obviously, you know, there's more competition, so that means there's less work for the likes of us now and again. But generally, I'd say, you know, it's still good though, I think.
Still
you know,
good.
It's still good, you know.
It's still good!
It's still good, you know, and it's an ever evolving market, isn't it? So people still keep having kids, so...
That's right, a new audience being born every year.
Absolutely, every day, mate, you know.
Every day.
It's always good to see the little babies, isn't it, when you go along and see doing the Parker Boys Brothers. Oh, another baby!
Future customers.
Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. Jan, absolute pleasure talking to you, buddy.
And thanks for coming over, Ben. It was absolutely
Cheers,
fantastic. It'd be great to hear the podcast, you know.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's great. So that's Jan Preece, and if you want to check out more about him, you can look at kids-party.hk. My name is Ben, I perform as Big Ben. If you want to find out more about me, it's www.thebigbenshow.com. Take care, I'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye.